What's up, boys? Today we're going to be yelling at people until their ears bleed. So we're back with the full Warcry Warbringer, and I've done a bit of grinding, so I have Seismic Cry now, which is pretty helpful since it actually has some base damage on the skill, and it also has some useful crowd control. It builds up extra stun, has some knockback, so we can keep melee enemies off us, and we can stack up the Corrupting Blood a bit faster now. And I'm trying to go all in on the Corrupting Blood type thing, Corrupting Cry. It applies 1 stack every time, up to 10, and it does damage based on your strength. So I'm going to try out a bit of a strength stacker as well, since we also have the node over here giving us percentage damage, so we get both base and percentage damage. So I'm trying to get a bunch of strength. I have the second set of ascendancy points now, which lets me ignore Warcry cooldowns. So I do need to swap some nodes from like cooldown recovery over into Warcry speed as well. Then we've also got the Seismic Cry, which applies a buff, causing them to explode in a fiery boom whenever they die. And that'll be a little bit more relevant as we get some of the Warcry notables that give us damage based on the Warcries we do. But there's currently only 2 in the game. I'm assuming they'll add some more later on, since they are pretty limited, especially in the early game where you only have 1 until level 41. So we should probably go ahead and grab these so that I can unspec those in a little bit. I had to go Blood Magic because it was impossible to sustain the mana cost even with the 2% mana and life on Warcry node. And since we're stacking strength for damage, we may as well get some decent sustain out of that eventually. And then the nice part about having so much Warcry speed is you can run at almost full speed while still doing decent damage, but then you can also just hold it down for a ton of stacks really quickly if you ever need to. I'm not sure if the movement abilities really even get you that much distance right now, since they have such a long built-in attack timer on them. I do have the attack speed on that, and it still feels pretty slow. I guess we can check what she has at least. See if there's any decent rares. Nope. Mana and spell skills. I think the spell skills is a bit low on that. But almost a decent Archmage blue. And of course all of the corpses explode due to the first set of ascendancy nodes doing percentage physical damage, so I'm trying to get some of that wherever I can. But there's actually not a lot of non-attack physical damage in the area we are on the tree. There's a bit near the witch, but I don't know if it's going to be worth going up there. It's also more spell focused, I think. Initially, for the 3rd and 4th points on Warbringer, I can't freaking move, man. I was going to go for the block nodes for some extra survivability, but I'm thinking we might actually want to go into the armor breaking stuff now that we have some flat physical on the Cry. And then, if there are any very tanky enemies with like huge life regen, or just bosses in general, then that will at least allow us to keep stacking up the armor break until we can eventually kill them. I'm not exactly sure on those two. Before I managed to get to Seismic Cry, I was mostly leveling with the Pillar of the Cage God, since I'm trying to stack the strength anyways. It had pretty good weapon damage. And I also got some jewels with some cooldown recovery, so I could use the Infernal Cry a decent amount. And basically all the slams I was doing with it were empowered at least, on top of the Corrupting Blood stacks. Staves do get a couple slam skills. I think their movement ability and one of the lightning attacks as well. So those all work with slam buffing stuff. See, I think the apex was actually towards the center somewhere, and that might be it. So we're probably going in the completely wrong direction, actually. I guess leaping has to be faster than a heavy armored character, right? Since you're getting a ton of movement speed penalty from both the plate armor and the shield. It's actually pretty easy to get extra knockback as a stat on some of the decent Warcry jewels, but I think I actually don't really want to get a lot of that, because it'll make it harder to sort of position them on top of the corpses and stuff, since that does a pretty good percentage of their HP as damage. And it honestly seems pretty easy to keep them chain knocked back super far already anyways. God, why are these maps so painful, man? Who did this to me? There's like almost nowhere we can even go. What is my movement speed at? 1.2%. And that's with 10. So we're basically losing our boots from having heavy armor and a shield. But it just doesn't really make sense to use anything else. Yeah, not the greatest single target, so that's why I'm thinking we might want to go for the armor break based up at some point, so we can at least keep ramping the damage up throughout the fights. We can try to pull the mobs on top of her so that the explosions from them will do a bit. And that's why I kind of like not having super high knockback. You can get a bit of extra damage out from ads and stuff.
This looks like exactly what I need.
I think there isn't really a ton of useful stuff in the spirit gems either. With a bit more, we can add in the one that makes it easier to stun enemies for a bit of crowd control, but I don't think there's really any great damage options. I'm just using the healing one that also dispels curses and elemental effects right now to make it a bit easier to transition into blood magic. Yeah, you might actually have to go full armor breaking. Although, the cry itself actually ignores armor, I think? Yeah, it ignores enemy monster physical damage reduction. So then you would need something else that did physical as well, so... maybe not, I don't know. Maybe the single target's just going to be terrible. It is cool against non-bosses, though. You really can't move through the guys in the middle. It just feels like this big 400 strength guy should be able to push these trash mobs out of the way or something. But no, you just literally can't move at all near them. Guess let's go swap those out and then see if we can do anything with the 2 free points now. Anything we can do to get the boss damage up a bit for this guy. One other issue is there's not really any plain physical damage on the tree in this area either, which is actually kind of weird. There's one cluster over here that's decent, which also has armor break stuff. So we can grab a bit there at some point, but I want to grab the cool Warcry stuff first. I think those are fine, those are fine. So I kind of want to go over here real quick just because Warcry speed plus area together feels really good. Although there's other nodes that are a bit closer. That just seems like it would feel fun. The nice thing with all the crowd control is we can just drag everything with us. We don't really have to sit there and fight it, unless we get stuck. Does that just teleport on top of you when you get out of it? What?
Ingenuity never ceases to... Bye. These runes. I can make out symbols for blood and offering. Wait, no. It's not a blood offering, it's someone of vile blood.
One cool thing about the Infernal Cry is since it still has a cooldown, we're just ignoring it. You can use Expanse for some huge AoE on it still. I like having the other one, the magnified effect on the seismic, just to hit the entire screen with that if possible. Inspiration, since it still costs a ton of health. with how fast we're using it.
We were right on top of this device the entire time. Oh.
Time to yell at some people in the past.
Living in the flesh? Hello?
Do I need to wait for her to RP for like 2 minutes up here? Just as entrance.
Let's go after them. Just look at
They think we pose a threat. Let's go after them so we can yell at them to prove that we don't pose a threat. Genius.
that is a dream come true. There they are. Hey! I was hoping to avoid conflict.
Well, the mana drain aura shouldn't do anything at least. Alright, I need some stun threshold. It's insane that they can just chain stun me with this much life and armor. There's that one node over here somewhere. Isn't there? There we go, stun threshold per strength. That should make it a lot harder to stun us, but I kinda need the Warcry stuff right now as well.
ends here.
Don't worry. I can solve this. This is all just a misunderstanding.
Which one of you?
Holy, those resistances.
Which one of you is a Val blood?
Why, that was me, of course.
That's an insane Vinters, wow.
Treasure hunter extraordinary.
Take her. Bring her to Doriani. As for you, I will pay back every drop of Val blood you have spilled.
As
Stop it!
expected.
You will fall before us. Feel Arakali sting.
Ah, there's so many circles.
Arakali's web. Feel Arakali sting.
Come on, bruh, we don't need more immunity phases that take up half the fight. There's literally nowhere to stand, my god.
Feel Arakali sting.
Please, man, stop with the immunity phases. It's so stupid. Literally half the fight, man. Like, there were already too many in Path of Exile 1. So they added more of them. Like, if they want the fight to feel relatively the same, but they just want it to have better game design, just increase the HP, but let you keep attacking them, so that it at least doesn't feel like there's nothing you can do, but the fight will still take a similar amount of time. But just having 50% of the fight where you can't even interact with the boss at all just doesn't even feel like a boss fight. One more point, big AoE and speed seems pretty nice. I actually feel like the full launch of the PoE 2 could have more players if they actually fix the issues of the game right now. Like, considering how rough some of the aspects of the game are right now, like some of the boss fights, just how slow and clunky melee feels, stuff like that. Fix that, and the full launch could actually be even more successful. Especially if they combine it with a cool league mechanic for the very first one. But yeah, he is correct. We are paying them to be the beta testers since they just never really seem to want to do that themselves for some reason.
These people are already doomed. I will kill whoever I must.
Oh yeah, those banners healed nearby. I might not even be able to damage them inside of that, since life regen will just counter damage over time. And then we can't really pull a range guy, I guess. Well, you have 4 dads. I mean, you have plenty of them. I'm actually not sure if going for more links on the Seismic Cry would really even help me right now, because the increased mana cost would be pretty rough on my life. And there would only be a bit of extra physical damage on the base Cry itself. Well, if anyone's lonely in Poe 2, there you go. I mean, honestly, it seems like it's probably going to take a year for Poe 2 to become decent as well. But I do think the game has a lot more potential in the long term. It's just in a pretty rough state right now.
Steel yourself!
Alright, so let's grab the big note here. I don't think that one... Oh wait, that's actually fantastic. 8% for every time you've Warcried. Okay, that would actually help with damage a lot. Yeah, let's definitely get that. And then the other two behind those are useless. Now we have even bigger cries.
This is Doriani. How arrogant.
The intruder is here? What of Nadwazi? Oh, I see. No mercy then. Kill him on sight.
Easier said than done, Thaumaturge.
Maybe they could add it onto like heavy armor where you can like push through enemies instead, so that at least it has a bit of an upside to go with the massive downside of the movement speed penalty. I don't know, it just feels so weird that my 400 strength guy just gets blocked by like one trash mob. With how garbage the dodge roll is, sometimes you can't even dodge through them either.
Come here!
Stop this at once. I take no pleasure in harming one of my own. But if you persist, I will do with her what I must.
My satchel is full. I've no more room.
Whoa, bestiality.
So, the eve of the hour has finally come for me.
I'm not here for you, fool!
Survival requires brutal choices. Sacrifice is the only path to survival.
It's honestly kind of hard to tell which circles are the bosses and which are mine sometimes, when you're sitting there chain casting.
Unleashed. I can't give up. I must save my people.
You know why we're here! It happened! It cannot be stopped!
No, I will succeed. Let's see you survive this.
Face me with your true might!
One death is nothing for the greater good. I cannot let my efforts be in vain. Existence is merely energy.
I can't tell where that is with the weird Z-axis.
Can run. Nothing will stand in my way. Self-destruction. This is not over yet. I will burn you alive.
Like, why is there dust coming off of my shout? There's like 2 or 3 different circle effects as I'm casting here. There's like the ground cracking under me, the yellow circle going out, and then there's like dust going on the outside? Why do I have so many spell effects here? It just makes it so hard to tell the difference between yourself and the boss.
The legacy of the Val must be protected. I do know of a way to contain the beast.
Best you
My
start
satchel
talking
is
then.
full.
My friend here isn't exactly the peacemaker.
There is.
So
I will.
it's set.
This is curious. First ones, you're alive.
There actually is a funny thing where if you take the lightning resistance passives from killing some of the bosses, it can actually make you weaker if you want to do a Doriani's build with a chest piece and low lightning resistance later on. But that seems like a very expensive build to pull off now that people have shown you can do it in Poe 2 as well, since you need some very specific, well-rolled Venter's Gambles for it, with huge minus lightning resistance and then good other stats.
Brannock, is that you?
There is so much dust when you're yelling here, my god. I wonder if it's based on like the terrain you're on right now?
Stay back. Don't do this. I'm sorry, Brannock. It was me or you. Hold on. Please come inside. Father.
It's a wicked sword. There's a beast that protect. Now, if you could. Till next time.
The Count must die for.
Welcome. I know you must. I feel. Stay safe, if you can.
Oi! See you.
He lives up to his reputation. I've nowhere to keep that. does it go? Twisted it into a nightmare.
Didn't you, like, just meet Clearfell? Why does he want to protect it so badly? Oh, one other thing for the build I need to try out at some point. There's actually a support gem that supports movement abilities, and it has some physical damage based on strength as well. I think Stampede or something like that. Or maybe Stomping Ground, something like that. We could toss that on Leap Slam and try it with the other movement abilities, see if the strength physical on that's any good. Since we're already building all that stuff anyways. Ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah.
My satchel is full.
Larger enemies? Yeah, like every enemy in the game is apparently larger, I guess.
Wildwood has changed, not for the better.
So we're done up here. The 30% AoE would be kind of nice, but I don't think it's necessary. There's some nodes over here. AoE and damage, that might be decent. I don't think the Warcry itself is actually dealing that much, but AoE on top of that... I think we'll probably grab that later. No. 25% Warcry speed and up to 40% damage if we use both. That's not bad, plus speed in front of it. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that since we're pretty close to it. I think I actually missed some spirit in Act 3, I think? Yeah. We should have 60 base now, I think.
I'll wait here. The old magics will protect me.
I guess we're probably gonna need inventory room for all the quest junk. It's annoying that you have to teleport around a bunch just to ID stuff at this one point where you don't have them back yet.
It's exceptional.
20% power charge on hits.
Goodbye.
Now this one. If you find a fight out there, don't bring
Yeah, we can add in that at some point to reduce their stun threshold. We need a source of armor break, but the extra armor from that would be kind of nice. Not sure there's anything super useful for a build like this. Oh, attrition. Culling strike, 1% more hit damage. Okay, that wouldn't be that great then. Since we are mostly from the corrupting blood damage over time, I think. Yeah, these just don't really seem that great for a build like this. Wind Dancer? Attack damage? No. Yeah, doesn't seem that great.
These were not my ancestors, but I still respect their valor.
I also don't think there's really any curses we can use to boost the damage here either. Vulnerability is armor, and we're doing damage over time, plus the cry itself ignoring armor. So I guess you could add temp chains into bosses to make them a bit easier to avoid.
They still defend their land, even after all this time. Who is that?
%25 speed, and then 20 or 40% increased damage.
Last one.
Oh, what we should do is try and save the corpses and pull him on top of those for the % explosion damage, see how that does. He just instantly healed up from something. Okay. There goes that plan, I guess.
Go with honor. There is nothing left to defend.
Alright, good place to stop for now. I think this node actually has helped out with the single target quite a bit, 8% damage for every time you've Warcried recently. It's very easy to get an insane amount of Warcry speed. Can I see exactly how much I have? I don't see it. Just says, oh, use time, 0.18 seconds, so we can do slightly over 5 of those per second. And then recently is 4 seconds. So we can potentially do around 160% increased damage, I think it is, off of that. So that's pretty impactful since it's actually fairly hard to get percentage damage here. You mostly have to get some global physical on jewels, I think. So I've been trying to do that. And then at some point we can grab the node near the mercenary for some decent physical damage over there. I'm not actually sure if we're going to go into the armor. I don't think we can actually apply it very well. Although we could stack it up pretty easily if we had a way to. I just don't think it's really going to work with the build mechanically. But that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.